Hi there everyone, welcome. This is going to be a restorative yoga practice. So, as always in restorative yoga we want to be using a fair amount of equipment. So I've got here a yoga bolster. If you don't have one of these, then feel free to just take a couple of pillows from your bed, a thin cushion or a folded blanket to support your head. This is optional, but if you have an eye pillow or a sock or a scarf, something that you can place over your eyes during the practice, it's a really wonderful way to release muscle tension from around your eyes, as well as inviting your mind to slow down and be more quiet. A blanket to keep you warm is good, jumpers, socks. We're not moving very much, so you want to make sure you stay nice and warm. And then also a couple of cushions. So if you have yoga bricks and blocks, then you're welcome to use those, but I know you might not have loads of yoga equipment lying around your house, so a couple of cushions or a couple of extra pillows will also work really well. The main thing is that they're about the same size. If you can see, these are just from my sofa, so something like this. Finally, if you have a chair or a footstool or something that you can elevate your legs onto, that would be helpful. You could try placing your mat next to your bed or next to your sofa if that worked for you. And if none of that's going to be an option for you, please don't worry. I will show you another way to do that posture when we get to it. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to start nice and simple. So if you take your support for your head, pop that down onto the mat. If you're lying on a harder floor, you might want to put a blanket on top of your mat, so that can help make it more comfortable for you. And then we're going to take our bolster, or perhaps your pillow, and we're going to start nice and simple in Shavasana. So you might be more used to doing this posture at the end of class when you do a more physical practice, but today we're going to start with this posture. So your bolster or your pillow is to go underneath the backs of your knees. You can have it slightly higher, so you can see it's still under the backs of my knees, but it's slightly more up on my thigh, or you can have it slightly down towards the calf muscle. Where you place the bolster will just affect how comfortable your lower back is on the floor. So it's a personal preference. One way isn't better than the other. So feel free to explore until you find that right position for you. If you've got a blanket you want to pop over yourself to keep you warm, do feel free to do so. And then come to lie all the way down onto your back. So your cushion beneath your head is to support your head and your neck. So what we want to avoid is the chin sticking all the way up to the ceiling. The chin wants to be lower than your forehead. So having some support underneath your head should help you achieve that. And then from here, we can tuck the shoulder blades in and slide them down the back. Now, when you do this, you'll notice there's a bigger arch in your lower spine. So you can just bend up your knees, lift your hips, roll your tailbone forward, and then lower your hips back down, and then straighten your legs again. So this should just allow your lower back to feel more comfortable and take out any unnecessary arching of the lumbar spine. So we're just going to start here. Feel free to pop your eye pillow on over your eyes. And giving yourself a few moments just to get used to being still. So your palms can face up or face down. Palms facing up is thought to be a bit more receptive, as if you are opening yourself up for some guidance. It's also a nice way to open around your collarbone. So sometimes if you're feeling a bit unsteady or ungrounded, you might prefer to have your hands palms facing down. So choose just which is the most comfortable for you. Although this is a very slow practice and we don't move excessively, you are of course welcome to make adjustments laying on the floor. Take a few moments just to scan around your body, as if you were getting on a little elevator in your mind and dropping down past your throat into your chest, and just beginning to notice how the arms feeling, the hands, how is your chest feeling, your shoulders, upper back, your lower back and your belly. How do your hips feel, your legs, your feet? So you're just bringing your attention out of your head and down into your body. And simply doing this is very relaxing. And you can do that at any time throughout your day, particularly if you start to feel anxious or your mind starts to race, then just sit comfortably or lie down and just guide yourself around your body. And there can be something so wonderful about feeling the weight of your body on the floor. Just sending a little reminder to your muscles that they don't really need to hold on here, that you're actually being held by the floor. No fighting against gravity. And so if it feels comfortable for you to do so, you can take a deeper breath in and then sigh or yawn your breath out. And just have that sense of sinking down towards the floor. Start to just become aware of any sounds around you. That might just be the sound of your breath. Notice the touch of the air against your skin, the temperature. Notice the feeling of material against your skin. Take a moment to acknowledge that this is time just for you. This is a practice to nourish your energy, not deplete it. This is a practice that helps you to explore stillness, slowing down, becoming more calm and patient. So let's take one more breath in, and as you breathe in, reach your arms up to the ceiling, and as you breathe out, reach them to the floor behind you, and then have a stretch into your fingertips, stretch into your toes, maybe wiggle your hips from side to side, circle your ankles and your wrists. Just enjoy a really good stretch, just like waking up in the morning. And then just relax your body and use your inhale, float your arms back up. Exhale, float them back down. Landing down by the hips. If you've had an eye pillow on, always remove it slowly and gently so you don't get any shock as you return your eyes to the light. And then, when you're ready, bend up your knees, roll to your side. Spend a few moments on your side. And then use your arms and push yourself up to sitting. Okay. So for this next posture, we're going to need our chair. So this is a yoga chair, yoga metal chair. Of course, you don't need to have something like this. Any chair will be fine. What you're looking for is a seat that you can rest the backs of your calves on. This chair is useful because it doesn't have a back. But you can get creative with chairs you have. You could always, if your chair has a back, turn it the other way, and that might work. You could use a footstool. You might be using your sofa or your bed. And if you don't have any of those things, if that isn't possible for you, then you're going to use your pillow or your bolster. So there's always a way to practice restorative yoga at home, even without all the yoga equipment. Because this is a metal chair, I'm going to place a blanket onto it so that it's a little bit warmer. So you can do the same if you like. I'm going to keep my cushion here for behind my head, and I'm going to take my bolster, so you can use a cushion or a pillow, and place it just in front of the chair seat. So if you're putting your legs onto a pillow, I'll show you how to do this in a moment. So this is for anyone using a chair, footstool, sofa or a bed. So we start sitting onto the edge of our bolster. So I'm right on the edge here. And then use your arms, bring the hands down on the floor behind you, and bring your legs onto the chair seat. So from here, you need to feel fairly confident in the strength of your arms and your core as you lower yourself all the way down onto the floor. So when you come onto the floor, you might find that you need to adjust your bolster, your pillow. So in order to do that, place your feet on the edge of your chair, lift your hips up, and then you can move your bolster, your pillow to a more comfortable position. Generally speaking, it's on the back of your pelvis around your sacrum, all the way up to your lower ribs on the lower back. So it tends to be a personal preference, exactly where it's most comfortable for you. So do feel free again to just play around with it until it's in the right position, and then lengthen your legs out onto the chair. If you're heavily pregnant, so probably depends on the person or woman. If you, obviously the bigger your bump, the more weight you're going to have coming down. So it's not really recommended after 20 weeks, but it might be also earlier than that for you. So listen to your body. Equally, if you're menstruating, you might not want to be going upside down. So if you're either pregnant or menstruating, you can do this without the bolster. If you're heavily pregnant, you need to have specialized pregnancy yoga classes. This would not be suitable. So this is the position we're coming into. The hands are going to rest down by the side. So if you were doing it just with your legs on the bolster, I'll show you that option. So you don't have a chair or anything like a chair, but you're going to take your bolster or your pillows, whatever you've got to hand. So I would probably use everything that I've got because the more the merrier when it comes to equipment and restorative yoga. So I'd make a little platform, something like this, and then put my legs onto it. So I'm not sitting on anything, I'm on the floor, but you can see my legs are still higher than my heart, and that's ultimately what we're looking for here, is this elevation of the leg. So this is a really wonderful way to reduce fatigue. It supports the circulation of the blood back towards the heart. And for those of you up on a chair or something similar with a bolster beneath your pelvis, you're also getting some more length through your abdomen, Gently turning your diaphragm muscle upside down to support your breath so that your exhale just naturally begins to lengthen. There's always this little bit of time where we drop into stillness. And you might notice the longer that you're in a posture, sometimes you have a moment that you just notice, oh, I'm still tensing my shoulders, or I'm tensing, gritting my toes. And if you notice anything like that, well done, because that really is part of the yoga practice, the awareness of noticing and paying attention. And then, of course, you can respond, you can explore, is there anything I can do to soften my shoulders or my feet or any part of the body? And one really good way to promote the softening of your body is to take a breath in through your nose and to sigh or yawn away the breath out through the mouth. And as you do that, just imagine the part of the body that's holding on is also softening and releasing. So we're not particularly trying to breathe in any special way in restorative yoga. Rather, we create the space for the breath. So we hold the body in certain positions that help us to breathe more fully and deeply without any effort. But I do like to remind you just to, at any point, take a fuller and deeper breath in, sigh and yawn your breath out. At any time that feels helpful. A big part of this practice is the silence. When we allow ourselves to experience both stillness and silence, we become closer to ourselves. We aren't distracted by our phones or our to-do list, but we are becoming more present. And this sometimes means that we notice how busy our mind is, this idea that the mind hasn't got an off switch, and of course it doesn't, because we're human beings, not machines. We don't have on and off switches. But even that awareness, that noticing my mind is busy, is a step forward in the yoga practice. Because we're not responding to all of that busyness. We just accept that the mind may be busy, but that we are practicing being still. So if your mind is particularly distracted today, just come back to taking a more gentle breath in and out. And come back to the feeling of your body, providing your awareness around your body. So when you are ready to move, those of you lying in a similar position to the one I'm in now, it's pretty easy. You just bend up your knees, roll gently to your side, remembering to pause for a few moments on your side before you come all the way up to sitting. For those of you using a chair or something similar, you do pretty much the same way, but of course you're a little bit higher up. So from here, you would bend up your knees, feet on the floor, feet on the chair. Lift up your hips, so nice strong legs, press down with your feet. Move your bolster to the side, lower all the way down. Just rest there for a moment or two. You can always put your legs back on the chair seat. And then carefully roll to your side. And then come up to sitting. So for our next posture, if you're using a chair, you can keep it where it is. This might not really work with a sofa or bed unless you can sit under corner. So that depends on the setup of your room. You can also use a bolster here or a couple of pillows, but you will need quite firm pillows. So I'll show you, and then you'll have a sense of what we're going to be doing and what you can use in your home. So having something to sit up on here is really helpful. And we're going to sit facing our chair or our footstool. And you may want a couple of cushions on top of your chair. The legs are going to be straight. Now, if this is uncomfortable for the backs of the knees, take some extra cushions or folded blankets or even just your jumper, whatever you've got to hand, and place these under the backs of the knees. So this can offer extra support to your legs if you need it. From here, we start by sitting up tall. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, folding forward and let your forehead come down. If you're feeling a bit stiffer in the back of your body and in your spine, you just bring more height here. Equally, you can, of course, have a little bit less height. If you are not using a chair or a footstool, you can do this posture with your bolster, so that you lean forward and rest your forehead onto the bolster. So it does need to be something firm, otherwise it doesn't work. If you don't have anything to hand, you can just come forward in this way. But it's really, really helpful if you can support your forehead on something. So feel free to pause this video, come back once you've found something. It's amazing what you can discover in your own home that can be makeshift yoga equipment. So this can be a little bit more of an active restorative posture depending on your body. If your hamstrings are a little bit tight, then you'll feel a stretch here. You might also feel some stretch through the inside line of your legs, maybe through your back, lower or upper back, and maybe possibly in your neck. In restorative yoga, we're not looking to overly stretch. See, this isn't about going as far forward as you can, working in a really muscular way. The emphasis of this practice is softening. So be as comfortable as you can, and even just 1 minute here will be enough for some people. So stay listening to your body. If it starts to feel stressful, if you start to get agitated, if you start to really want to move, just move. And you can always come and lie down or fast forward the video to the next posture. So this is a really nice way to open up the back of your body. And this is where the lungs are. The lungs are predominantly in the back of the body. You might just start to notice your upper back area moving a little bit more with your breath. Just staying here for a few more breaths. Breathing in a really easy, comfortable fashion. And then nice and slowly come up as you inhale. Make sure your head doesn't pop up, there's no rush. Let your arms relax and softly and gently open your eyes. A wonderful way to bring a sense of calmness to the mind is anything really where we fold forward in yoga. So we can move the chair, footstool, out of the way if you're using that. We're going to come back to lying down onto the floor. So we'll have a cushion to support the head, and you'll want a bolster or your pillow on the floor next to you, and you may want a second blanket or a second cushion on the floor on the other side of your mat. So your bolster on one side and your cushion on the other. So we're going to take a twist. So if you know you're a bit tight around your shoulders, you need extra support where this cushion is. And sometimes if you are new to this practice, it's best just to do the posture and give yourself a minute or so just to work out if it's comfortable or not. You can, of course, always come out of the position and take extra equipment, take away equipment, whatever you need to do. So we're going to start lying down onto the left-hand side and support for your head. And then our top leg, our right leg, is coming on to our support. So what we're looking for is for the knee to be lower than the hip. Don't pull your knee up as high as you can. So this is a little bit more comfortable, bring more length to your hip flexors. Your foot ideally is also supported. Some people prefer to have their foot hanging off, but I found that after a while your foot can go a bit numb. So just see what works best for you. And then lying all the way down onto your side, we're going to bring this top hand, the right hand, in towards the chest. And as you do this action, you're rolling onto your back. So you might need to lift and wiggle your left shoulder over more. Keep your leg where it is. Don't roll all the way back. And then your right arm is getting extended. So your arms are in a bit of a T-shaped position. And there's some support underneath this right shoulder. So even if your arm get to the floor, just put some support there anyway, because we want this to be an easy place to be. So this should feel comfortable, that you can stay in it. If it's too much for the front of your right shoulder, just get an extra blanket or an extra cushion and raise your arm even higher. If at any point it just is tiresome having your right arm in this position, you can always bring it into your rib cage or down onto your belly, wherever's most comfortable. So you might have your gaze up towards the ceiling here, eyes closed. And this is a lovely way to gently stretch the side of your body, to gently twist your spine and to gently stretch your diaphragm muscle, which is this big parachute-shaped muscle in your lower rib cage. So any form of twisting that we do in yoga, twisting of the spine, is energizing for our system. When we do it in this way, lying on the floor, so that we're not using our muscles to hold us up, the twists become energizing, but also very restful. So I think it's really wonderful to know that even when you're exhausted, you can still practice yoga. Yoga is so many things. When you feel ready to move from this position, you might find it helpful to bring your right arm in towards you so it's no longer outstretched. And then very gently come to roll onto your back. And just relax your arms and your legs for a moment. So legs straight, arms down by the side. And see if you can notice any difference in the two sides of your body. Maybe this right side feels a bit longer, a bit more open around your hip, around your shoulder, maybe longer around your waist. And then we're going to take it on the other side. So you might be comfortable just moving your equipment whilst lying down. But particularly if you're using a bolster, which tends to be quite heavy, I often recommend that you sit up first and then move your equipment to the other side. So any support that you've been using for your shoulder. And of course, one side of the body can be different from the other. You might notice or you might know that this left shoulder is the tighter side. So if that's the case, take more height here. So we start lying onto the right-hand side this time. Remember, as your knee comes onto your support, it's not super high. And then bringing your left hand in towards your chest. And then reach that left arm out behind you. So you feel that you're rolling onto your upper back. Be careful not to drop through the back of your pelvis. So we're looking to keep the back of the pelvis fairly level. So you might do a little wiggle with your right shoulder. And then bringing the arm out in line with you. So your arms are in a kind of T-shaped position, more or less. So this twisting on the other side can feel quite different, particularly if you do have more tightness on one side or an old or new injury to be mindful of. Remember, if it's ever too much for your left arm, you just rest that hand in wherever's comfortable. Making sure your head and neck are supported. And then dropping back into stillness and silence. And of course there may be a little bit of noise in the background. It's quite a windy day today here, so I can hear the winds kind of coming through the flats. You might have people around you. Maybe you're just with your own breath. We just accept everything for as it is. We don't need things to be perfect to practice yoga, which is lucky because things aren't always perfect. So just enjoy being here for a little bit longer. And then when you're ready to come out, nice and gently roll onto your back. And relax your arms and your legs once again, just to feel the effects of the practice. When you are ready, bend up your knees, roll to your side, push your way up. Next posture. As always, some different options for you. If you've got a bolster, or your first option actually, let me start with the simplest first. Your first option is child's pose with a bolster. If you're using pillows, just make sure they're not too flat. You might want 2 pillows instead of 1. And you will fold yourself forward and down. So as you come down like this, you might want an extra cushion for your head. You may want a blanket to hug around the back of your body. This is really nice. It's really comforting to wrap yourself in a blanket. It'll keep your kidneys nice and warm. So you can come down like this. If your bottom doesn't come all the way down to your heels, so if you kind of tend to be a bit more like this in the child's pose, then you can take a folded blanket or a thin cushion and pop that just onto your calf muscles so that you've got a little seat to sit on, and then you can come down. So that's one option to do child's pose. I called it simple. It's obviously not simple for everyone. I mean simple in terms of equipment. Your second option, and you need a nice tower here. So I'm going to pile my cushions on top of my bolster. And you can really make this as high as you like. You then straddle, for lack of a better word, straddle your tower of pillows, and then let your knees slide wide apart. So your feet are going to come out to the side. If your feet don't comfortably turn out, keep them turned back, that's okay. So you're sitting on your bolster in this version, and then you're coming all the way forward, and your head is hanging over the top. So you may need a cushion or a folded blanket here to support your forehead. So this version is a bit of a Marmite pose. I tend to find when teaching it in class. Some people love it, some people hate it. One good way to get familiar with this posture is actually to do it on your bed, because your mattress is soft, so the mattress will give a little bit, and that can sometimes make it more comfortable. So if you'd like to give this one a go, but it's not feeling so great for you, the first thing to do is have more pillows here, and then the second thing is to try it on your bed. So choose the one that you want to do. You can, of course, can always come back to this video, take another option a different time. And then make sure your forehead can really relax down. So I'm obviously turning my head a lot at the moment so that you can hear me give instruction. But you want to avoid doing this and just let your forehead drop down so the back of your neck is long. And so if you're in the first version of child's pose and your head's been turned to one side, just gently turn it the other way now. And this side of your neck might be slightly tighter. So if you want to turn it back, again at any point. If you're in the second version, then you just stay where you are if you're comfortable. When you're ready to come out, use your arms and push yourself out of the posture. So if you were in more of a straddle, you just push yourself back and crawl back a little bit. And just sit comfortably for a moment. So if kneeling's not an option, just sit cross-legged. Remember, nice and soft with your eyes as they open. We come to our last posture. And again, two options. So you can come back to simple shavasana, lying flat on your back, just in exactly the same way as we started. Or if you did have a chair or a footstool or a sofa or a bed, you can do something quite similar to what we did before, but this time flat on your back. So you can put your legs back up onto your chair feet. This time you're not sitting on a bolster or a pillow. So your legs can come up and then lower yourself back. So if you want a blanket to keep you warm, find that now. Eye pillows, jumpers, extra socks, whatever you need. If you don't have a chair, you're just lying on your back. You can always have a cushion or a pillow behind your knees, exactly as we started. And then eye pillow or sock or scarf, whatever you're using. And then finding your way back into the stillness. So restorative yoga is a wonderful practice for reducing the feelings of stress and anxiety, for helping to relax the muscles and let go of muscular tension, to create more space for your natural breath. It also acts as a way to teach us to slow down and wait, to become more quiet in both body, mind and heart. And this over time helps us to become more responsive, less reactive, and better able to listen to the guidance that comes from within, that inner sense of knowing, that we lose connection with when we're busy, tired, exhausted, numb, rushing around here and there. So even though today's been an hour's practice, I really encourage you to make a little bit of time, even just 10 minutes a day, just to lie down, put your legs up if you can, pop an eye pillow on, and give yourself that chance to rest. feel welcome to stay lying for as long as you would like. When you feel ready to move, just move slowly and gently. Maybe wiggle your fingers, your toes, circle your ankles, your wrists. You could stretch your arms and your legs. Take a sigh or a yawn. Nice and soft with your eyes. As you roll to the side, your eye pillow generally falls off. So just take that gently. If your legs have been on the chair seat, place your feet on the edge of the chair and then just roll to the side. Spend a few moments on your side. Letting the light filter in to the closed eyes. And then softly letting them open. The world a little bit softer now, perhaps. Use your arms. Push yourself up to sitting. And we'll end there. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I hope you have a restful day or evening, whatever lies ahead, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.